Okay, so next lesson we're going to be looking at gender. Now there are clear differences between males and females, and this isn't a sexist view, it's scientific fact, and I'm going to take you through some of these differences. Okay, so men are generally bigger than women, and this is because men have longer, heavier and larger bones, and this means that they're taller and broader than women. Men also have larger hearts and larger lungs. Now if we focus on our heart to start with, if we have a larger heart, that means that our ability to transport oxygen via the hemoglobin, via the blood, is going to be greater. We're going to be able to pump more blood around our body. If our lungs are bigger, it means that we're going to have a higher oxygen carrying capacity. The amount of oxygen we can intake is going to be greater. And there's a difference in males and females, and this difference can be up to 43% greater oxygen carrying capacity in males than females, and that's a huge figure. Men also have a greater muscle mass, and if we have more muscle, we obviously are going to be stronger, and in tests for maximal strength there was found to be a difference of up to 40 to 50% difference between males and females. Now because men have higher muscle mass, they generally tend to be less flexible, and remember, our flexibility is the range of movement around our joints. Because there's more weight there, men are generally less flexible. Men also have more or higher testosterone levels within their body, and it's this testosterone, this chemical testosterone, that allows us to build muscle. So if we have more, obviously we're going to be able to build more. Men also have less body fat than women. Men will approximately have around about 15% body fat in their body, and women will generally have anything from 23 to 25% body fat. Okay, so now let's focus on women. Now, one of the key differences between males and females is the menstrual cycle, and this is a hormonal imbalance which occurs within the female body every month, and it can have a negative effect on female performance. One of the other key differences between males and females is the fact that females will reach physical maturity a lot sooner than males. So this is why in primary schools especially, you'll see the young girls are bigger, stronger and sometimes faster than the males in the primary school, and this is because they've reached physical maturity sooner. But it's not long before men will then catch them up and overtake in regards to being bigger and being stronger. Another key difference is that women have a wider and flatter pelvis, and this is all related to childbirth. Okay, and we discussed earlier the fact that males were less flexible than females, and hopefully you understand that this is all related to muscle mass and the weight on certain joints. So flexibility is greater in females, and this is why you'll see female athletes excel in activities such as gymnastics, dance, diving and synchronized swimming. These kind of activities are really well suited to females. And also, we looked at in the earlier slide the fact that women have smaller hearts and smaller lungs, and this has a direct effect on oxygen carrying capacity. It means that males have an advantage over females. It means that males have a greater ability to transport oxygen and also take in oxygen into the lungs. And lastly, we looked at the fact that women have more body fat than men, and that figure of 23 to 25% body fat for females is something that you guys need to understand. Okay, so the last thing we're going to look at are the perceived differences between the two genders. And you guys need to understand that it's only fairly recently where there has been an equality between males and females. Up until this point, there was discrimination towards females, and the fact, especially within sport, and the fact that they were the weaker sex. And this amazes me that women were only allowed to race a distance of 800 metres up until 1960. So you can see the discrimination there. Now, this is something which we're going to look at in greater detail as we go through the course in GCSE PE, but there are certain religions that restrict female participation, and you guys need to just think about that and have that in the back of your minds as well. And again, this is something which hopefully is changing, and something which you guys hopefully have seen the change in, and that's the opportunities for women in different parts of sport. So broadcasting is something which has certainly changed in recent years. The fact that there are now female managers, female coaches, female officials within sport. So this again is something that we'll look at in greater detail, but again something for you guys to think about.